Hey guys, Bo here. So funny, I've learnt to speak on video on my own, but then when someone's around, I'm like conscious of it. So I gotta break that down.
Yeah.
To the ocean. All right. Okay. Hello, people.
G'day, mate.
G'day, mate. G'day, TikTokers, trendsetters of the world. Wanted to talk to you about Mindful Earth and our journey so far. I guess this is part 2. I wanted to talk to you about the council. Okay. Hey guys, Bo here, sitting at Mindful Earth Sanctuary. I wanted to talk to you about our issues with the council and how it all went down and what has happened in the courts and what is the current status and what we're planning to do for the future in regards to the council. So I guess a little background story is Mindful Earth. We purchased the land like around 8 years ago. Just built a shed on the land, which was the residence, the house. And that took a couple of years. I got the shed built and then I spent a couple of years fitting it out. So just on weekends, I spent it 6 months down here, took time off work, come and lived here. And yeah, started building the shed, water tank, electricity, everything basically, just to make it functional. And then at the start of COVID, we moved down here permanently. Me and my partner, Taran, moved here permanently, which was amazing. Thank you, COVID. My job finished up, and we moved here. And Taran had a lot of experience with running volunteers at her backpackers sort of hostel in Auckland, in New Zealand, and so had some experience with building an earthship in Patagonia. So she was perfect for helping make this project, getting it off the ground. I didn't even know you could use volunteers. Actually, I probably didn't even know that world existed. So, but the intention was to build the farm into a space with facilities that we could host retreats and host workshops, holistic activities. And that was always the goal. But how do we manage that? So we realized that you need more people. You've got to have people to help create these dreams. So we started with 10 volunteers, and then COVID happened and we got locked down for 6 weeks. And we sort of everyone was just on the farm, and we started to build things like the chicken coop, and then we built the veggie garden, we built the compost toilets. So yeah, we were using the people, the volunteers, the woofers, to help with the expanding of our dream. And that went fine. They stayed in their vans, they stayed in their tents, and we continued to have new volunteers, old ones leave, probably never more than like 10 people, because we just had a space at our shed, our house. We'd created a kitchen there and a little kitchenette. So yeah, we never went to more than 15. But then so the next thing was we said, okay, we need to build a communal space for our volunteers. And this is where we started to build and completed the barn, which is a 12 by 12 meter space. That was an amazing project as well. We had people who'd never used drills before, like learning how to build and use tools. I was the lead on that, and I helped guide and help design the building. We used all secondhand materials. We've got window frames from houses in Perth. We've got doors. We've got, yeah, it's all second hand except for the main beams, which we got cut locally. But it's all Jarrah. It's wonderful. Wonderful and beautiful. So yeah, we built the barn. We'll probably finish that in 2 winters ago. The end of the 2 winters ago. And then we could have more people stay. And we could also utilize those people to help with building more things. So we installed the dome. So there was a bit of work in that. We had to level the ground. We had to concrete the footings. We had to get the dome built. Yeah, and so that was another big project. And then, so by summer rolled along, after New Year's 2021, we had a beautiful communal space. And because we have the circus festival here each year, had a lot of travelers, and it was also, so that was 3 years. That was the 3rd year of COVID. It took us to get to the barn being complete. And then, so the barn was, it's never been complete. It's always a work in progress. But it was habitable. We had a kitchen in here. We had a beautiful living space. And people started to arrive through the summer. But what happened in November of that summer, 2021, was that the council turned up. And myself and Taran walked the council members from the building projects team, the permits, and we showed, yeah, we don't have a permit for this building, but the building we were always going to get approval. Just at the time, it just evolved, creating and building a space that was organic, that just evolved throughout the build process into a magical building. And the intention was always to get the permits retroactively. I was always told that was a possibility. You bring in an engineer, they do the drawings, and then they approve. We had compost toilets, which is not an approved system for the council because we use wheelie bins and bins with sawdust. We use Jarrah sawdust to mix with the poo and the wee. So yeah, the council said, okay, you guys need to do this. We also had some tents. We had 8 Airbnb tents set up, like bell tents that we were Airbnb for income, which was not approved by the council. And we agreed to close them down. We had hip camp, so we had people camping. Not I think maybe 6 sites. And then when the council arrived, because I believe someone complained, a neighbour, and this is before we really made any noise. We were very small and quiet and not known at all, really. But they arrived. Someone, yeah, if I understand, someone complained about something. And then so on the walk around, one of the council members, or for the Shire, said to us that the campers couldn't stay on the property and they had 3 weeks to leave. And my argument, I was a bit confronted by that. It's like, hang on a second, these woofers, these volunteers, these friends are staying with us and helping create on the farm. And they said, nope, they've all got to leave. You got 3 weeks. No negotiation, no room for anything other than, nope, they've got to leave. And to me, this was unfair because our whole model for what we are creating is based on utilizing volunteers and woofers to create these beautiful spaces that allow an opportunity for people to utilize them. So we have a yoga shala, people can teach yoga, people can do sound healings. So yeah, we sort of like hit this wall from the council. The council put a wall up and said, that's it, you got no option, get rid of them. And we had an event that was playing around about that time. Yeah, this is good test run of what to say. So basically, when the council arrived, they really didn't give us an option. It was either close up shop, get rid of the volunteers, and then I guess it was what the way the council was suggesting as a solution was to build workers' accommodation on the property to house your woofers and volunteers. So currently they were living out of vans or a tent, but they were utilising the facilities here for living, showering, toilets, but they had their van or their tent as where they slept at night. And the council said, no, you need to have approved workers' accommodation, which to me seems very unreasonable because we had to, we don't have a lot of money. We're building a business, a unique business, and we've always used volunteers, woofers, to help with building these structures. But we were told that, well, they can't stay on the property unless they have approved workers' accommodation. And for me, the approved is through the council. So that approval process and to have the approved buildings would be in the range of, who knows, plus 50 grand to house 10 people. You think how much a donger is. Anyway, it's way beyond our budget, way beyond where were able to find a solution with. And so yeah, the council just basically put a wall up and said, this is how you need to do it. You got to build a workers' accommodation. You have to shut everything down while you get the permits for the buildings. And yeah, that's when it all started. That was in about November. My partner and me separated. She wasn't prepared to continue fighting against the council, so she separated herself from the farm and our relationship. We continued on, and we didn't go ahead with the permits because we're in a court case, a disagreement with the council. So fast forward to January, I get court documents to say that we're going to court. But what the council had done was they'd taken me to court for the permits of the buildings. There was no mention of illegal campers. And to me, this was not a fair response. The issue was always campers on the land under the Caravan and Camping Act. But that's not what they choose to take me to court for. And I refused to plead guilty, even though I was guilty, because yeah, we don't have a building permit for the barn, or we don't have the approved toilets. But as I said, on the day they arrived, that we will get those permits retroactively. We're fully happy to do that. So by the council court charges not addressing the actual issue, not taking me to court for the issue, which was you're not allowed to have people stay on your land who are clearly contributing as volunteers and woofers, then left me no option but to plead not guilty, because felt I need to have a say in how the council has handled itself in relation to the project that we're building at Mindfulness Sanctuary. So yeah, we went to court last week. We were found guilty, which was always going to be the case. We had a fine, I think it was 150 grand for not having permits. But the good thing is that we were allowed to speak our truth. I was allowed to speak my truth and clearly outline how the council has been very heavy-handed in their ways to shut us down. We never really had any negotiation. I don't think the council ever came to us to understand what we were creating here. And we have never had a visit from any of the councillors. Yeah, it just generally was shut them down. That's what I imagine the order was. Shut them down. So that was the attempt. Shut them down. And that's where the wall, you got 3 weeks for everyone to leave. But to me, that's just totally unacceptable, because what we are doing here is of immense value to the community. What we are doing here is of immense value to the people that live in the area, all of WA. We have created such magic here. We've created friendships, lifelong friendships for hundreds of people. We have created a space for people to celebrate, for musicians to play music. We have created a space for people to heal, to work through the trauma that they've experienced in their lives, because this is a safe space. This is a space where people can just take time to be themselves. We've created a space where people can venture into their unknown, to discover what creative talents they have, to be inspired. We've created a space for people to laugh, people to connect with horses and dogs and sheep. We've created so many valuable things for humanity. We have brought people together. We have connected people. There's been relationships formed, loving relationships formed. It's been an immense benefit to everyone that came here. Every single person that came here has grown and learned and go away feeling expanded. So why would why would you try and stop that? Why would you try and stop that? Why would you give a 3-week deadline? And this is the question that I asked the council. How do you deal with somebody and some people who would like to form community, who's clearly offering an alternative to the troubles that are being experienced in our southwest region. The troubles, accommodation shortages, mental health issues, loneliness. Yeah, there's many benefits that we're bringing to the people of the area. Cost of living, sharing transport, sharing food, sharing community, sharing accommodation. This makes it possible for people to survive in this world that's becoming more and more expensive to live. We offer something very, very important to our fellow humans: connection, love. This is what is missing in our society today. This is why there's so much mental health problems, is because we don't connect anymore. We don't share our wisdom. We don't hold each other and give each other a hug. In community, we start to learn how to do that again. And it's the future. And we need to realize that. And we need to realize that the current laws, the current zoning of the small government, the councils, is almost been designed to prevent communities from forming. I'd almost go as far to say that it has been deliberately structured that way to prevent someone from building a family of kin, say any more than like 6 people on a property, has been squashed. I'm just doing. Yeah, so you can't have more than one house on a 100-acre property right now. You can have a house and a granny flat. That's it. If I want to, on a farm, have more than 6 people in a house, or maybe 8, maybe 8's the maximum, I'm going against the rules. And so the council categorizes anyone more than those 8 people as, if they're living in their vans, as campers. And then it comes under the Caravan and Camping Act, which says you can only camp on private land for 3 days per month if you're within 20 kilometres of caravan park. This is an old act that is not valid anymore. We are not campers. We are volunteers. We are woofers. We are actually community. We're family that are staying here. But currently the Act doesn't cater for that. We just get put into the camping category. The Shire scheme has nothing on woofers and volunteers as to how they are to, where do they stay. It's an obvious that everyone's staying in their vans or their caravans, but the scheme doesn't allow for people to stay in their caravans or vans as woofers and volunteers. They keep claiming them as campers, and then you can only stay 3 days per month. And then the Shire's response is, you must have approved workers' accommodation or they stay off-site in an approved accommodation space. Now I ask, how many farms or in the area are doing that? How many people are actually staying on farms in their vans? And then if they're not staying in the farms, where are they staying? They're staying in the forest, because it's now $50 a night to stay in a caravan park unpowered. There's a lot of holes in the council's message. There's a lot of the common sense is not prevailing. There's a lot of questions that we need to ask. You've got to understand that community is a solution to the problems that are occurring in our society now. Community is the solution for accommodation, like the housing crisis. If you have 50 people in a community, all living on the land, in a community, as volunteers, woofers, kin, family, they're all contributing to a farm, working in the veggie garden. Someone's looking after the beehives, someone's looking after the cows, someone's milking the cows and making cheese. Like, it is a farm. It's a farm. This is what I refer to that because in the court case, the council tried to say that we were a campground. But like, they never chose to listen to my belief. We are a farm. We are a sanctuary. We do all the farming, because like, we utilize our 37 acres we have. This is the plan, but you need to build the infrastructure to prepare for the farming. And when you don't have large sums of money, you can't just get it done straight away. You need to utilize any method you can. And we offer an experience for those woofers and volunteers and the people living here, the kin. We offer an opportunity where they can live on land and farm and do all types of different activities at a cost that allows it to happen. The current system, everyone's got to go and buy their own land, and then it's just you and a couple of people to do all the work. It's just not, it doesn't make sense. We need to do intensive agriculture. You've got to have people. And especially when you're setting up, you've got to have volunteers or woofers that are giving but also receiving. They're receiving skills, they're getting to meet people. It's a mutual benefit to both. The council doesn't take into account that these people in the community are farmers, the best farmers, because it's intensive. On 37 acres, the amount of micro businesses, micro agriculture, I'm just trying to think the permaculture term, but basically just different little ways of producing. You have chicken tractors, you have horses, you have cows, you have sheep, goats. All these things require people to manage. And if the current idea of a farmer on 1,000 acres with him and his wife and his kids, and all they do is drive big heavy machinery, that's why it's monoculture. They don't have time to grow a veggie garden. They don't have time to have bees. You need people. And this is how it's always been done in the past. We were villages, we were communities, and everyone helped each other out. Someone grew the potatoes, someone kept the growing grapes, someone produced wine. It's You have to have people, and currently the council is only saying they're campers. That's a big hole that needs to be challenged. We need to challenge that, because community is the future. For one, the cost of, as I say, all the pressures of our current society. We have a food chain in the world that could easily stop at any moment. If we build communities, sustainable communities that produce everything that they need. You even have people making clothes. We have workshops where we have people being creative, building beanies to sell, or earrings, or someone's a hairdresser. Like, you have the whole structure of a village in your community. But everyone lives together, and there's a form of harmony and connection between us all. This is my dream, but it's not my dream because it's been like this for thousands of years. This is how we were always living together. We just forgot. Now we're so isolated that we think anyone who wants to build a community is a fucking a guru, a guru or or a hippie or a cult leader. But little do we realize that these villages were always the way. We've just somehow gone so far away from it that we've forgotten. And now is the time to come back together and live in these communities again. But we need the help of our council, who is actually there to support us, not to hinder us. So we need the council to accommodate for communities to be built on one title of land. We need the council to modify their scheme to allow for multiple businesses and multiple scheme categories to be all on one title. Currently, you can have a caravan camp, but you can't have farmland. Maybe you want to have a small shop, a little town square where people can come and